Was this just-in-time attendance? just like your just-in-time manufacturing?
Exactly. Okay, we'll call to order the regular city council meeting of October 9th, 2023. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Vixen,
Here.
Salvia,
Here.
Albrecht,
Here.
Gould,
Here.
Peterson,
Here.
Sage,
Here.
Trent.
Here.
Please all rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody, on a crisp fall evening. First, we start with public comment, scheduled and non-scheduled. First, we have an update from State Senator Mike Weber. Welcome, Mike. Senator.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mayor Vixen and council members. And it shows that it's been a little while since I've been in here because the room looks great, but it's changed a little bit in terms of where the mic is and all that kind of stuff. But just wanted to, I'm hoping to do these legislative updates at least a couple times a year, so the spring and the fall. And just want to introduce myself, Michael Weber, serve as the state senator for District 9, which includes the entire city of Rochester and the greater Rochester area. As you know, my background, 7 years on city council with Rochester Hills, and then 6 years in the State House serving the greater Rochester area. So certainly understand the challenges that you guys have as council members representing your community and trying to balance the books and all that kind of stuff. In terms of a legislative update, it's mainly going to be budget related, but we were, aside from the budget, we were able to pass an extension as it relates to the transformation of brownfield legislation that's already been in place. And I think that will be important if there's some projects down the road that fit that criteria for the city. We did pass our budget on time back in June. It went into effect October 1st, so it's been in effect now for about 9 days. And the statutory revenue sharing increased by 7%, with 5% designated as ongoing, 2% as one-time appropriations. The legislature also appropriated more money into the state rainy day fund. We paid down $500 million in debt on MIPSers, appropriated over $1.6 billion in federal grants for increasing broadband access, appropriated over $500 million to invest in drinking water and wastewater improvement projects, and finally more than $215 million was appropriated for local road repair and local bridge repair, which of course is important. In terms of revenue sharing, Senator Moss and myself, and then Representative O'Neill and Representative Tisdale, who represents this area, we are the Michigan Municipal League co-chairs for the caucus, and we have all come together on a bipartisan bill package with regard to the Revenue Sharing Trust Fund. And what that would do, it's a concept that was introduced last session by Representative Ellison, who was the former Royal Oak mayor, and Representative Tisdale. What that would do is not necessarily provide more funding in revenue sharing, but I think it would provide more certainty to you in terms of putting that money aside where legislators couldn't touch it in terms of like these year-to-year appropriations discussions. So we are working hard on those bills. We've had bills introduced in the Senate and the House, and Rep. Tisdale should be pleased. His bill passed the House Local Government Committee, is now on the House floor. So we're doing another caucus meeting on Thursday to talk about the progress of that. But that's something we're really working hard to try to get done. That's been a big priority for MML for a number of years now. And so we're trying to make that happen. And then in addition, we've been working with Councilwoman Salvia and the city on some grant money for Rochester Community House, and so we're hoping that we can get good news on that front. And then I did meet with city manager and his team about other road infrastructure projects, different projects throughout the city, trying to get those on our radar screen, so when we're going into the next budget process, and that we can try to advocate for some of those. Obviously, I don't think our budget picture is going to be quite as rosy next year, or just, we're not going to have the extra money that we had from the feds. But we'll still obviously have money to try to invest in good infrastructure projects and good road projects like that. So just trying to get it on all the radars of the different communities, that's a priority for me. And if I have that information, then I can advocate, for those items. So lastly, just for residents here and at home, just want to provide some contact information and a way to sign up for our monthly e-news. They can visit senatormichaelweber.com or call our office at 517-373-0994. So, and with that, I'll turn it back over to you.
Questions, Councilmember Albrecht?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Senator Weber. Always good to see you, and appreciate the update. I know Mayor Pro Tem Salvia is all over the grants, and we've got a lot of good people working on grants, not only for community house, but for other kinds of things, working with the city. Is there anything we're missing? What else can we do to get our voice more amplified in Lansing to make some of these things, come to fruition?
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's one of the reasons why I met with the city manager's office about, trying to advocate for some of these projects. We've had other parts of the district, namely the city of Troy. Obviously, they had this sound wall issue with the I-75 expansion. It was not something that was scheduled to be in the budget or part of the budget kind of thing, and it was something that myself, Representative McDonald, Representative Kuhn, who all represent Troy, we advocated for it on both the House and the Senate side to get it done. And so it's stuff like that that I think if we're armed with the information, and what I said to Nick was, if we even just have like a one-page sheet on what the project is, the reason for the project, that kind of thing, it just gives us the information as we're talking to the appropriations people about that. In terms of the grants, it's really, I think, Councilwoman Salvia has done a great job of trying to get the necessary people to do letters of support, letters, to try to kind of flood it with showing the support that the project has. And so I think that that's always important to not, certainly not take it for granted, because there's other entities fighting for those grant dollars, as you know. So.
Thanks for all you do. Appreciate it.
And I think there's a feeling that we are not being treated fairly in some of these grants, all different aspects of what we're applying for.
Sure.
Mayor Pro Tem Sylvia?
Yeah, Senator Weber, any updates on the water affordability legislation that I believe is making its way through the Senate?
Nothing yet, other than I know that it's been introduced, and there's going to be some discussion at the committee level. I don't believe it's gotten through the committee process yet.
Okay, but is your understanding that it would be funded through a $1 to $3 per meter per month charge?
That's my understanding, but I can certainly get more information. I'm certainly not an expert on the legislation, but we can try to our office can try to get you more information on like a bill analysis and that kind of thing. So we'll make a note of that.
Thank you.
Anything further? Any other comments? Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to see you. Thanks for
Thank you.
coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Yeah. Next, we have the recognition of Jason Dickinson for being awarded the Community Hero Award from the Chamber of Commerce. Nick, do you want to?
Yes, please. Thank you, Mayor. Chief, last Friday, it was a surprise to a lot of us, and that's how it was supposed to be. Maggie wanted it to be a surprise. So when we got there, we saw the program in the fire department, and Mr. Dickinson were both honored, and Jason got a very prestigious award, the Community Hero Award. So in talking to him, the chief wasn't feeling good tonight. Jason would like to have Lily come here with the award and everything and do it right. So if it was his idea, just wait till next time so we can do it right. But I think, let everybody know that's watching, it was a great honor, it was a great program, and the fire department was recognized for their work. Jason they did great bios on, so we can do a whole thing with Maggie on it next week. So, but timeliness, we were trying to let everybody know he was our community hero, and we were very excited about that. So
So congrats, and we'll do it up next time. Councilmember Albert?
I just want to say, our table was small but mighty and loud, and we let Jason know from where we were sitting how proud we were of him as we were for the fire department. So I look forward to honoring him properly next city council meeting. I think you heard us, didn't you, Jason?
We were loud and proud.
Rochester Hills.
Is there any further public comment? Brian, are you out there?
I am, and there is no one online.
Okay. On to approval of the minutes, consideration of the minutes of the regular meeting of September 25th, 2023.
So moved.
Support. Motion by Councilmember Peterson, support by Councilmember Sage. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Vixen,
Yes.
Salvia,
Yes.
Albrecht,
Yes.
Gould,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Sage,
Yes.
Trent.
Yes.
Thank you. There is nothing on the consent agenda. I think that's the first time possibly ever. There's no old business, table items, public hearings, legislative deliberation. We move on to reports and regular business. First is a consideration request to authorize Lake Orion Roofing to replace the roof at City Hall. Gotta have the roof at City Hall, I would imagine. Alec, welcome.
Hi, Mayor, council members. So the roof at City Hall is showing signs of deterioration and is in need of repair. This item was budgeted for replacement this fiscal year. Reached out to 3 different companies, and Lake Orion Roofing was the lowest quote at $82,670. Installing a kind of mid-range shingle with a 10-year non-prorated warranty, 15-year warranty for wind damage up to 130 miles per hour. And the lifespan of the shingle is, they say, 50 years, but 30 to 50 years is kind of the goal on this kind of thing. I know in past facility committee meetings, we had discussed metal roof. We looked into this option, and it's going to be north of $300,000. And from talking with the contractors, based on the pitch of the roof, this is just not suitable for a metal roof. So it's something we looked into, but we are recommending that we go with the shingle replacements. This item was discussed at the facilities committee meeting last week on the 5th, and the committee recommended it to send to council for approval. So city staff requesting city council to approve Lake Orion Roofing to replace City Hall roof for the amount of $82,670, and the work is scheduled to be done this fall.
Good.
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Peterson,
Support?
support by Mayor Pro Tem Salvia. Questions, discussion? Councilmember Gould.
Just a quick question. When was the roof last replaced?
I don't know. I know Jason's been here how long and it hasn't been done?
Oh, okay. So it's out of warranty.
Yeah.
And this was,
3 ages of roof on the current building, add on, but it'll be all brought up again.
Oh, great.
And didn't our facility company say that was
Yeah,
something to
it's
be
been
done?
on the list with the Amoresco stuff.
yeah, sorry, I
Right.
forgot to mention it is something
Yep.
that was listed in the Amoresco report when it was done a few years ago as being done soon.
Very good. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Vixen,
Yes.
Salvia,
Yes.
Albrecht,
Yes.
Gould,
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Sage,
Yes.
Trent.
Yes.
Thank you. Next is a consideration request to approve the agreement between Oakland County Equalization and the City of Rochester for Equalization Division Assistance Services for real and personal taxes for 2023 through 25. Marcy, welcome.
Thank you. So before you tonight is a familiar contract for the assessing to be handled through Equalization Division at Oakland County. Last year, council gave approval for a one-year contract, and typically it's multi-year from Oakland County, but the Oakland County had a new assessor that came in, Michael Lohmeyer, so he wanted to take a look at all of the processes that were in place. So he's done that, he's had plenty of time to take a look at the contract language, and you may note that it's quite a bit more robust than it was in past years. But city attorney has reviewed it, and the city would like to request that city council approve the contract. It does include some increases. So for the year 7/1/23 through 6/30/24, there would be a 4% increase, as well as the next year. It's a 2-year agreement. But it's very difficult to find assessors for cities these days, cities, counties, and villages. So city has reviewed this. We feel very strongly and approve the work that's been done through Oakland County Equalization. So if there are any questions, we'll be glad to answer them. But we would approve moving forward with the assessing contract.
Mayor
Yes.
Pro Tem Salvia.
Thank you. So quick question. It says here, budget impact is $500. That's the fiscal year impact of this?
Right.
So our budgeting process has worked accordingly?
Correct.
Is how I hear that? Okay,
Correct.
thank you.
Councilmember Albrecht.
I know you said Michael Lohmeyer is the new assessor. It looks like with a 3-year contract, we already had a 4% increase, so it didn't go up based on the new person, right?
Correct. It's just an inflationary and market-driven change.
And this covers us for another 2 years, so we won't be dealing with this until 2026.
We won't see the contract again to ask council to give us the approval, but there will be a 4% this year and a 4% next year.
Thank you, Marcy.
Councilmember Peterson.
Thank you, Mayor. No, I want to say thank you, because I think this is one of the best services the county provides, and I've had the pleasure of working with Michael all year, and I think that his expertise is even better than what we probably had in the past, and we'll see some good improvement and changes possibly coming.
Agreed.
Is there a motion?
Sure.
Motion
moved.
by Councilmember Peterson,
Support?
support by Councilmember Albrecht. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Vixen,
Yes.
Salvia,
Yes.
Albrecht,
Yes.
Gould,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Sage,
Yes.
Trent,
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is a receipt of the check register report. And then before we get to various boards and commission reports, there's a packet that was put in front of you about appointment of election workers that should have been put on the agenda, but it wasn't, but it's timely today, so, Madam Clerk, would you like to speak on this?
Sure, Your Honor. Before you this evening is the list of election workers. It looks a little bit different than previous years. The state is still working on program changes, so I just created my own Excel document. The workers that you'll be appointing are for early voting tabulation on election night, election day, absentee counting board, and our receiving board. And I would ask that you make that motion this evening.
Motion to approve the election workers for this season. I'll support.
Motion by Councilmember Peterson, support by Councilmember Trent. Mayor Pro Tem Salvia.
Thank you. So, Leanne, will this information be posted with our packet online? How will the public have transparency on this?
We can do that. We'll update the packet.
Okay, excellent. And it's very important to note, I mean, early voting, starts October 28th, and you can even vote on a Saturday or a Sunday now.
Two of them.
Yes.
Councilmember Sage.
Quick question, Madam Clerk. In the past, we've actually listed these people with their designated party affiliation. Is that now a new thing where we do not do that?
No, that would be something that that computer program that I didn't use picks up, so I'll make sure that I get those put in there manually. So,
Thank you.
Councilmember.
Sorry about that.
Councilmember Albrecht.
Yes, just on the last page, it says early vote tabulation, Jeremy, Brian, Anthony. I know they all work for administration. That's a normal protocol that we always do each year, just because you need all the help you can get?
So, to answer your question, so the early voting tabulation, that's the tabulator. It'll be done here. So we have to operate that like we would any other polling location. When you close down at 8 o'clock at night, it's going to be open to the public. It'll be advertised as this is the location we're doing that at. So you have to have 3 poll workers to not only run the tabulator, but then to sign all the certificates and put the envelopes together and everything. So they'll act as a polling location group for that purpose.
Thanks for the clarification.
Councilmember Trent.
Yeah, so are they counting early tabulation? Are they starting at 8? Or
So the early voting tabulator, because the early voting will be done by then. So it'll be a matter of turning on the machine and then transmitting the results to the county. So yes, that will be done at 8 o'clock or shortly thereafter.
So
It can't be done beforehand.
I see. An absentee is the same, right?
Absentees, they'll be working on them. What I have noticed is the no reason absentee have picked up, that 8 o'clock timeframe has gotten longer. Usually we're done by 8 o'clock, but what I'm finding is there's a lot more people turning in their ballots. So I'm expecting that you're getting your totals a bit later than what you're probably accustomed to. So, probably 8:30. So that's a little more patience for that, but that's the reason why we're getting a lot more turned in right at the 8 o'clock mark, and those still have to be processed and put through the machines, so it's taking a bit longer.
Still fast. It sounds like.
8:30 is very good,
I was
because
going to say.
I was around when it was midnight one time.
Yeah, we have improved.
Were you on the ballot? Well, thank
I
you.
was.
Yeah, thank you for everything you guys do. This is impressive how many people you have working all those days.
Is there we have to vote?
Yes, Your Honor.
Madam
There's a
Clerk,
motion
the roll,
already.
please.
Vixen,
Yes.
Salvia,
Yes.
Albrecht,
Yes.
Gould,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Sage.
Yes.
Trent.
Yes.
Thank you.
How many absentees have been turned in so far, do we know?
Almost 400 have been turned in, and we'll hit issuing over 2,000 tomorrow. There was no mail today, so that made we're at 1983, so we'll sure pass that, and we've never hit 2,000 for a local election, so it's busy.
Very good. The receipt of the check register, if you have any questions. So now on to receive reports from boards and commission. First, there is a report from the Rochester Historical Commission. Councilmember Sage.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Couple updates. One on the historical plaque program. I think we're going to expand that, and working with the Rochester Hills Museum at Van Heusen Farm, and develop some banners for like 50, 75, 100, 125, 150, and allow residents whose homes do qualify to display that at their home. The DUR book, we sold two last month, so it was a big month. And I just want to remind all the citizens that is a wonderful gift for the holidays. It's $39.99. Can be purchased at the library, at City Hall, I think Catching Fireflies, so it's everywhere. So
DDA.
And DDA, yes. That's it.
Very good, thank you. Next is a report from the zoning ZBA. Mr. City Manager.
Yes, sir. I had one case on last week. It was with the Chicken Shack. So Chicken Shack was celebrating, or they are celebrating, they are the first Chicken Shack in the whole system. It was the family-owned, and when Cheryl came in, the owner, the daughter of her mom and dad's were the original people that made Chicken Shack or invented it. She came in and talked about the need to rebrand. So they went to franchisees over the period of time, but they're looking to focus in, and they had a hard time surviving COVID, she said, even here. And if you've all seen the kind of historic little yellow and green sign in the corner, it's not very easy to see. So the zoning ordinance only allows one sign per business. So we've already set precedent many places with taller buildings to have 2 or 3 signs in different locations. So she came in and talked about rebranding. So they're going to take down the little green and yellow wooden sign. Their new colors are purple and black. So it's a garden ground sign that meets the ordinance. And then a round sign that says the original Chicken Shack. That's a circle that goes over the door, mounted really neat, out of wood. So so the ZBA thought that if they would have had a second entrance for the residents or for the petitioners, they could have had that second sign, because they are under the allowable 100 square feet. So they're way under. They're at 37 square feet, if I remember right. And so ZBA heard the case, and then they granted approval for the new ground sign and the sign over the door. And she was very happy about that. So that should go in the next 6 weeks. What was it? Oh, I'm sorry. Then the last thing we did was, for 2 years, we've been struggling with trying to, Mr. Gasson brought up the fact that somewhere buried in the annals of the city was a procedure guide for the ZBA. He found it 2 years ago, and a lot of the things weren't being not necessarily followed, but it was very unclear about how many members were on the board, procedure, if there was a vote of the majority that were there, how many votes did it take? And there were conflicts based on a 7-person board or a 5-person board. So we worked with Attorney Crott, and we came up with language that better fits our board of 5 members. So we finally got that passed, so they unanimously passed that as their new document that they will work from. So we are glad for that. And that was it.
City Manager, could you provide that document to
Sure.
council so we could look at that?
Sure.
Thank
Thank you. Next is a report from the Planning Commission. I will handle that. We were going to have a public hearing on the rewall, the new rewall building, but they didn't get their paperwork in time, so we had a lengthy discussion. It seemed very positive. So the coming meeting, I think there's a second meeting this month. We are going to have a public hearing on the rewalled site, but it is a special project, so it will come to City Council. It's the building right next to their headquarters building, and it's going to be second floor offices, first floor restaurant, market. And the second thing on here, it was postponed.
Mayor? Where are we on working our way through the master plan? Earlier this year, we had talked about that. I feel like I haven't heard anything in a while.
Mike, do you want to comment on that?
Yes, sir. So we are on track. So Jeremy, when he got here, took the lead on that. So we're working with John Jackson and his group to stay on track to get that implemented. So I think the next step is we have the last 3 districts to go to the Planning Commission, and then we're going to bring them forward through this body. And then we had the discussion with the Planning Commission about there's 3 different ways to finally implement it. And I think we've landed on, we're going to rip off the Band-Aid, create all the new districts at once, go have a massive public hearing for a day, probably, information meeting. Anybody can come in so they can see all the different property, the new classifications, and then publish it in the newspaper after a public hearing here, which would just create the new districts and get rid of the old districts. You could implement them one at a time, and we thought collectively, let's just do this if we're going to do it. So that should be done within the next 6 months. So you'll see it by the end of the year for sure. And then we're going to go for the whole enchilada. We'll go out to all the different bodies. Everybody's property that's being rezoned would get a notice, so lots of communication.
Yeah, Planning Commission's close to getting done with it, then it just has to go through the other bodies. Anything further? Okay. On to report from the Sister City Committee. Councilmember Albrecht. Whoever wants to.
I can do it.
I could go on.
Oh, okay, I know you came a little late.
Councilmember
Oh.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, start. I'm sorry, I just had some idea. Whatever you do, I'll just add on.
Okay.
I have to.
We meet every other month, and this month we invited Julianne, the executive director for the Rochester Hills Public Library, to come and speak to us. I will tell you, it was very interesting talking about the history of the library going back to Avon Township and how it's changed over time, and the role of the 6-person board, and the fact that everybody says, why is the Rochester Hills Library in Rochester? And it was an interesting story about, when the cities split up, that we kept the cemetery and one other place, and they got the library. So, but next year will be the 100th anniversary of the Rochester Hills Public Library, and we are what's called a contract city. So it's Rochester Hills has 6 elected board members on the Rochester Hills Public Library. Then we have a liaison, as does Oakland Township. When she talked about all the kinds of things. The library has a fun fact: they have over 1,000 visitors a day, which was very surprising to me and very enlightening. Talked about some of the things they're bringing back because of the pandemic. One of the things is where you can rent items that you probably might not have at home. musical instruments. Your child is learning to play the drums or maybe that's not a good example, a guitar. Definitely a piano is not a good example, but you can check out a guitar, you can check out equipment, you can check out different kinds of things. You know, when we all think of libraries as books and videos and things of that sort. So it was just amazing what she talked about. She talked about a couple of events that they always do, the Wit, Wine, and Wisdom event that happens annually, which I've gone to 3 of the last 4 years, and just some of the other things. They're going to do a lot of sort of fun things around the 100th anniversary. And again, I think all of us just had our mouths dropping, you know, Doug, Marilyn, and myself, along with the city council members from Rochester Hills, just about all the different things. There is a newsletter that goes out. She gave us all a copy of that. And then included with that was like a 4 or 5 page internal handout of some of the cool things they do, you know, a Make It lab where you can go in and use their equipment and different kinds of things. So I got a lot out of it. I love the library. I'm an avid fan and contributor of it, but I left there learning things I didn't know before that evening, so.
Yeah. You did a very good job.
Without notes.
But yeah, without notes. And I just a couple of things to add is, yes, they have the innovative items collection, which was Councilmember Albrecht was speaking about, as they rent out tools and household items and technology, and they also have podcasting equipment. So anybody want to be a star on that? That was really cool. They they gave us 8 pages of services that they do, and another one that I thought was really nice was the Raise a Reader, where they provide a board book every month for our littlest readers, from their littlest readers from birth to 24 months. All families are eligible to register once for access to new unique books timed directly to their child's development at any given stage of the first 2 years. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. The Oakland Talking Books was a free service administered by them in partnership with the National Library Service for the Blind at the Library of Congress. They loan talking books and magazines and large print books and Braille and talking books, players, to eligible Oakland County residents of all ages. But I won't go on. You can always go on the website to see what they offer. And they also reinforced that it's all free. It was amazing. I learned a lot, and and I'm a big supporter of the public library anyway.
Very good, thank you. Next, on to the report from the Principal Shopping District, Councilmember Gould.
Yes, thank you, sir. We met on October 4th and talked about a whole variety of things. There's a lot going on in the city right now. We'll be coming to the City Council a recommendation for caroling in the city on December 10th from 5 to 8 on Main Street between 2nd and University. There will be choirs and carolers, a marching band, a dance team, music, and more. Main Street will be closed on Sunday at 4:30 and reopening at the conclusion of the event at about 8:30. There'll be a detour that's kind of the same as the hometown Christmas parade. A couple of other things to touch on, just by way of update. The gift certificate promotion is happening soon. That is where you buy a gift certificate and there's a match, again, from our friends at Chief Financial Credit Union, or Chief Financial Credit Union are providing the match, which is very generous. They're a huge supporter of the city. The cookie stroll will be on December 2nd. On November 10th at 10 o'clock, the pre-sale will happen. If you haven't participated in that, these sell out in 7 minutes, I think it was last year, they said. So 11:10, 10 o'clock, online, $35 for your tin. I think there are 15 different stores participating in that. The Festival of Trees, tickets go on sale. This started this past weekend. You've all seen the big bright light show starting to go up. It's making good progress on that. Lanyap is actually on November 20th. It'll be the 50th anniversary. And the final thing I guess I'll mention is that the Kris Kringle Market had 74 applications, And 36 of those were selected, which equates to about 42 booths. So some of them are taking up more than one booth space. But there's some really great new participants. There's a ceramics place, Clayco Ceramics, a Detroit history place called Additions BK. A lot of really great things, but it's getting quite competitive, which is a good thing. I don't know if they've had a juried competition in the past for that, but 74 applicants is very impressive. So I will leave it there. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Next is a report from the Facilities Committee.
I can take that.
Mayor Pro Tem Salvia.
Thank you. So we talked about the main item, which was the roof on City Hall, but we also spent quite a bit of time talking about the Parks and Recreation Master Plan and the citizen input that we've received, and talking about how we're going to incorporate that input into the master plan. You know, things like kind of maximizing use of the Rah-Rah building, bicycle racks, water feature, several other items, but good discussion around the Parks Master Plan.
Anything further? Okay, we're going to, on to public comment. Any further public comment from the audience? Brian, anybody?
There is no one, thank you.
All right. Next on to general miscellaneous, Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Nothing particular, other than I'm going to have Alec come up, and we're about to go through a 2-week period here of amazing construction projects today. Holly put up a map with the description of all the different things that are going to take place in the next couple of weeks. Alec, you want to come up and see if you can rip this off the top of your head? I think you can. We've gone over it so many times. So, but lots of stuff going on in the DDA throughout the city. We posted on the website, like I said, so anybody can get information. But it started today, if you haven't noticed, on Main Street, the bridge. MDOT started, so,
Yep, so MDOT started their bridge maintenance construction work yesterday. That should be going on for about 2 weeks until the 18th, I believe. Traffic will be going both ways, but cut down to one lane, so you can do your best to avoid that. Hutch paving will be in starting tomorrow to start milling out roads. We'll be doing that tomorrow and Wednesday, and then going back the following week, Monday, Tuesday to pave. The alleyways downtown is tomorrow, is that correct, Jason? Tomorrow they'll be coming in to mill and pave those, and then we'll be getting the other contractor in to line the alleys after that. Trying to think what else we have going on. The last stretch of our DWSRF project with Deponio Contracting on North Wilcox should get going in about 2 weeks. Their work should take about 2 to 3 weeks with the underground water main replacement. And once they are done, we'll have Hutch come back at a later date to mill out the rest of that road and complete that section as well and pave that.
I think that's it.
That's enough, right?
Yeah, so it's gonna be a busy couple of weeks.
And they get, so Rome, some of them are pretty big. So around City Hall, they're actually milling this whole less than good, Pazer rating 3 road around City Hall. Romeo from Main Street all the way, Romeo, the rest of the way that we started, Parkdale from Romeo, the rest of the way to Mrs. Turner's home. We talked to her about where that line ended up, so it matches up with the latest paving job there. So, so disruptions up 4th Street. Jason was able to move the 2 platforms in front of Boss Barber and then Spice and Tea Monday, so that we could start that Friday, so that we could start that paving tomorrow. So it's, again, mill one day, come back the next time.
And the other big contract there, we are wrapping up soon, the sewer lining.
Yes.
Secured in place, pipelining, so none of the rest of the work should impact traffic or anything. I think Romeo Row is the only one that required.
Do you want to tell a bit about the curbs, the situation we ran out with the curbs on the east side?
Yep, so we ran into some difficulties, misunderstandings with the contractor that bid on that project. And after a lot of discussion and deliberation back and forth, we've decided to scrap the project for this year and regroup and go back out to bid for next year. There wasn't a great way to try and salvage this in a way that was, I think, fair to all the residents involved. So we'll be going back out to bid next spring to give it a second try.
Mayor Pro Tem Salvia?
So I know it has been communicated to the HOAs that this is happening this fall. So how are we communicating with them that it's going to be delayed till spring?
Yep, so we're already contacted a couple of them. We're getting through all of them so they know what's going on. So-
Okay, do we need to have an
We'll give-
HOA meeting? I mean, this will be a pain point with them.
I understand, and we'll have notices go out to each individual home as well, just like we did before the project. That is gonna be postponed for a few more months.
And out of our control, the contractor refused to do what he bid on. Didn't tell us till last week, basically. This is way more than I thought. You signed a contract and we got everything going and this is what position you put us in, so
How does he get out of that?
wasn't us.
Can they just get out of a contract like that?
I'm going to say yes because they hadn't got to the point of the performance paperwork, if I remember
Yeah, I
right.
mean, there was a contract signed, I mean, there are things like performance bonds, but
Jason, he might be able.
Just so there's clarity, this won't be in the spring.
You should come up.
This will be next fiscal budget cycle, because the cost is gonna go up pretty substantial.
So it's a year out.
The day after July 1.
it hasn't entirely been decided yet.
Right.
but-
Nothing simple, all right?
That's close to
Not in
winter,
this day and
so
age. Yeah.
Yeah.
snow plows.
Okay, anything
That's why
further,
they
Mr.
need it,
City
because the
Manager?
snowplows were-
What's
Good.
that?
Madam Clerk?
Nothing more tonight.
Mr. City
More to
Attorney?
come.
Nothing, thank you.
Councilmember Gould?
Just one thing, lots of fun stuff going on in the town. This past weekend, I had the privilege not of running in the Scare Away Hunger 5K, but I did volunteer for it and passed out the numbers in the bag, so I felt
But you didn't pass
it
out.
made me
You
feel
passed out the numbers.
very healthy. The reason I bring it up is they are still having a food drive. If you have any canned goods around, you can go to their website, and I'm sure they'd be happy to have that. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Salvia?
Thank you. So I just want to recognize Jason Dickinson for his hard work in pushing to get the dinosaur trails done. I know you were the force behind that, so thank you. Hero of the year once again. Also, the city sent out via the Facebook page this fact sheet regarding the ballot proposals. One of the key points is these ballot proposals were not initiated nor sanctioned by the city of Rochester or its council. So I'd just like to know, how else can we communicate this? This is very sanitized, it doesn't jump out at the reader that I want to read this, and we're trying to educate people. How else can we communicate this?
Madam Clerk, Mr. City Attorney?
Work with Aaron, who did the newsletter, and make it brighter and more attention-getting. And as far as that, maybe we could just put it in our buildings, fire station, community house. Beyond that, I don't know.
Do we have a e-blast that we could send it out?
We have
Or can we
Rochester
not
Ready,
do
but
that?
we don't do that. We don't want to burn the people out on stuff like this. So we talked about that and decided that that's not, we made a commitment, we wouldn't use it for things like that. So, and we don't have an e-blast per se, it's Ready Rochester, but it would not be the appropriate use of that for that document. But website, obviously,
That's a
I think
top.
everybody's probably got it, but I don't know what else we could do.
Can we give it to the DDA, and for their members that are so inclined, could have that at their place of business?
Yes,
Yeah.
I believe they all got them also, but I will confirm that.
Send it out to all the boards and commissions. even.
To the,
Could do that.
yeah, just looking to educate.
And the HOAs.
What about the
Can't
HOAs?
we send it to the HOAs?
The city's not taking a position, so we
Right.
can send out any.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
a factual
Information,
piece,
right.
Yeah.
it's not an
Right.
advocacy piece, so
Nope.
no issues.
I mean,
Okay.
Anything further?
no, thank you.
Councilmember Sage?
Nothing this evening, sir.
Councilmember Albrecht?
Nothing, Mayor.
Councilmember Trent?
Yes, I'd just like to compliment the Rochester Regional Chamber of Commerce of a job well done. as they presented the Sunrise Pinnacle Awards on last Friday morning. And not just because they gave our fire department and Jason Dickinson awards, that always helps, but I also like to commend them on not only giving awards to business owners and nonprofit organizations, but also the public sector. And I really like that they've been doing that. And I'd also like to do a shout out for the Posed. Even though it rained, I felt like it was really well done. It always is. The shopkeepers, our owners are always very creative. And At Home Furniture honored our local heroes as well. And I really liked seeing that done, and it was well done, and got to see some of our local heroes being very, very still for a very long time, which I'm just very impressed. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Peterson.
Yes, shout out to Jason on his award, and also to the fire department. The Dementia Friendly that is coming is one incredible project that I've actually had the privilege of working on, and very excited to see that they were honored for that, something amazing that we needed for the community.
Very good. And finally, I'd like to just also congratulate Jason. He's been around a long time. He's done a lot of good work for the city, and it's nice to have him get that recognition, so congrats. And we'll talk about that next meeting. So now we have,
Mayor?
oh yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead. Come on up and introduce yourself.
I thought of something. My name is Mark Lucas. I'm a longtime resident of Rochester. When you guys were speaking about the ballot, I had a question about the marijuana situation.
Yes.
How did that come to the ballot? Like, what is the process of bringing that to ballot to vote?
Okay,
'Cause
so,
I hadn't heard about it
right. So
until I got something in the mail
Right.
from
So-
here,
So
and
in
I'm very concerned about it.
2018.
It's not from here. What you
Right.
received
So-
was not from here.
So-
Well, I just
so in-
want to know, because it's on the ballot.
So in 2018, the Rochester City Council voted not to have marijuana dispensaries in our city.
Okay?
So a outside organization went out and got signatures to put this on the ballot, and there was nothing the city council could do about that. So an outside group got enough signatures to put a amendment on here to change our city charter to allow marijuana dispensaries in town. That's how.
So you guys have no control over
Correct.
that being put on the ballot?
Correct.
So that can happen in any city, in any
Correct,
district?
and there's
And
other
it has.
cities going
And
on
it
right
has.
now.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they decide how many stores are open in this city?
They
But then the
wrote,
city, if the stores are voted on and if it's voted on and it's passed, the city of Rochester gets the revenue off of those? Or what happens with that?
we get some revenue, but you can make the argument that the cost that the city has is going to be more than the revenue we get. So we get about $160,000
For 3
for
stores.
3 stores.
Yeah,
So you guys couldn't even say, hey, we just want one?
Correct.
correct.
The ballot language says 3 stores in downtown
So I'm still a
Rochester.
little confused. So who has full control over that in all the cities? So we can go to Romeo, we can go to Troy?
Any
And
city,
this team can present this and
They-
say, Mr. Mayor, we want this in our city. This
Well,
is going to be on the
it
ballot.
would, yes, that's the procedure.
signatures.
If you get enough signatures, you can get any issue, within,
So where are those signatures coming from?
they hired people to go out and be around town in the park and things like that.
Here in our town, correct?
Right.
So there's people in this town that have
Right.
actually voted or
It was
signed that
Correct,
Yeah.
yes. Like
to approve
500,
this for that company to put it on the ballot.
Correct.
Yeah, 500.
500 and some.
560.
For the charter amendment. 'cause
No, you
there's-
could argue that,
So people were actually, this company was actually coming to like my door
correct.
Yeah,
But
and
correct.
they
saying,
were
would you
the-
like to do this?
Correct.
They would have, yes, they
Would
would
And I
have.
could have just said, no, thank you.
Yes,
And there's people in the city that said yes. And they want that.
but some were fooled, some were fooled.
Or they said it's okay to have it on the ballot, or they didn't understand it,
Right.
or whatever. but 500 and some people
We're for one, and then 300.
signed a petition to get on the ballot.
That was for one, that's
So
a
did you
charter.
guys know that that was actually happening in the city?
No?
No.
But, we soon found out, but yes, we did not know.
No.
And it's on the ballot in
Grosse Pointe.
Grosse Pointe,
Park.
Birmingham, other places as
Well, you
well.
can't stop somebody from doing this. It's a democracy.
We have no, and so what I
Don't you
tell,
find that, I find it very disturbing.
Yeah,
I'm a
oh,
longtime
yes.
resident of Rochester.
Personally.
And I don't want that in my city.
so what I tell people is, that's what happened. And if you want to affect change, go out and tell people you know and
Try to
get
help
your
it.
voice of the people out.
I
Yeah.
understand.
So-
I just didn't know about it
Yeah.
until 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
I didn't know at
really?
all.
Wow.
That's why we're trying to educate
Well, I'm glad
people.
you found out,
Yeah.
because that's what we're trying to do here. They're educating what's on the ballot.
So I think what's important here is to understand that enough residents signed a petition to put it on the ballot.
I know.
It is now up to the citizens to decide if that is the course of action we want in this town. So I urge everyone to go out and vote their position on this.
And you see all those no
I know.
signs, that's starting to be a grassroots.
My gut's telling me this isn't gonna go well. I think it's gonna pass.
Wow.
That's
Well,
just
that's-
my gut. I don't know. I
that's-
could be wrong.
Yeah,
But
my
that, yeah,
my
I
gut
just don't
says the
want that in the
opposite, but
city.
you have to have people vote.
I
Yeah.
understand. I just want you guys to know my opinion as a
you.
longtime
Well, thank you
resident.
so much.
Get out
for
and
that.
work.
Thank
Go
you
to-
for being
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, get out and
And I
go to
want to
work.
speak up about it, because if you don't
Please
speak
do.
up about it,
Right,
it's like,
right. We've been speaking up as much as we can.
okay.
But
Thanks for
the,
listening.
but the city officially is not taking a position, we're taking a position as individuals.
Mark, you didn't state your address.
I live at 1161 Ironwood Court, apartment 203.
Thank
That's
you.
me.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And Mark, if you want to get more educated, the last city council meeting, we all gave our personal opinions on this, and you could just listen to it. It was right at the beginning of the meeting, and it's part of our archives and on the webcast. So get yourself up to
Your
speed.
Honor, also on the website, under
Yeah.
election pages, you
Sure.
can read the entire documents under ballot. So, and if you have any questions, let us
And I
know.
know in these local general elections, kind of like at this, in between the main election next year, a lot of times there isn't a lot of participation.
It's a lot less, right?
Yeah, there's a lot less. So the people that want it, they run out there and do it. And
You
then
could-
guess what? Here we sit.
You could
know.
look at it the other way
Yeah,
too.
I agree with you. I'm not
So we're,
just, I'm just
I'm
stating.
trying to be optimistic.
I know, but the way, don't let me ramble, I'll start
Okay,
rambling. on.
Councilmember Peterson?
Yeah, I just want to add, though, the other thing that a lot of people have been confused about is a survey that was received in the mail.
Yeah,
That did not come from us.
The city.
and I
That-
mailed it back.
Yeah, see, that didn't come from us at all. That was
Okay.
not city
An
generated at all.
outside group is
Yes.
spending money to try to get, yes.
Met by saying it's increased revenue, and do you want
Yes.
do you want to get increased taxes for the
Do
city?
you guys know if that was sent out to everybody in the city?
It was sent out
Yes,
to
it
everybody,
was.
and it
But
was
there's been
quite,
mailings from the other side as well.
have you,
Interesting.
yeah.
But the
It's a legal
survey,
process. It's a
Right.
legal
Yeah.
process.
Yep, so.
However,
And
there was a lot of confusion around that mailing in
Yeah.
particular. Where did it come from?
Totally. I
Not
read
the
it over
city.
several times, and I'm like, where did this come from?
Yeah.
You
Came
look
from
at
an
What
the
it's about.
envelope, the
I did.
return address was open stores in Rochester.
Exactly.
That is not City of Rochester.
No, it didn't have the city seal on it or anything,
It's an
but it
outs-
was confusing.
It's an outside group, but they have the legal right to do that according to the state's constitution.
So if we mailed that back, what?
Nothing,
I mean,
nothing.
No.
Nothing happened. It's not a vote. I'd just like to add what Councilman Sage said, that it is up to the people. This is a time when your vote counts, because a lot of people think, does my vote matter? Oh, yeah, this time it really, really does, because nothing can, after that, it's a done deal. And and so that's where,
Well, it'll just start bleeding other little things into the city. You know, we might get this, then they'll think of something else. And then here we are with something else and something else, and
if you speak.
I just like the way our city is. I don't want any of this
Yeah,
in here.
you
Thank
should
you.
listen to
So
what
do
we
we.
have. So do we,
So I
individuals.
charge you to go out and do what you
Mm-hmm.
can.
Okay.
And
Okay,
early
thanks for
voting.
listening.
Thank you.
Here in this,
Thank you for
right here in
being
this
here.
room. 9 days.
Yep.
Okay, guys. Thank
October
you.
28th.
Thank you.
Bring them on over.
Okay, so next we are going to, I need a motion to go into closed session to discuss pending litigation without the potential of coming back into session.
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Sage, support by Mayor Pro Tem Salvia. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Vixen,
Yes.
Salvia,
Yes.
Albrecht,
Yes.
Gould,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Sage,
Yes.
Trent.
Yes.
Thank you. We'll take a 5-minute break.